Alright, that's an A minor fingerstyle piece that we're going to learn some basic chords, and we're going to incorporate the right hand technique of what they call fingerstyle, or PIMA. You'll see that in classical as well as other fingerstyle pieces, particularly things like Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, Blackbird by the Beatles, you name it. There's a bunch of fingerstyle you're going to see in popular music as well as classical. So not just a classical technique. So let's talk about the right hand a little bit and how to apply those. So the chord progression is an A minor blues. I'll get you a PDF of that at the end. And we're going to be using four chords. A minor, there's your fingering, D minor, E minor, and E7. If you're not familiar with how to read these, you can reach out to me at eric@thefretfeed.com or thefretfeed.com and inquire about lessons. We can get you up and reading this notation pretty quickly. You do want to have these chords memorized before you attempt the fingerstyle piece. Your left hand leads. If your left hand can't get to the chords on its own, the right hand is going to be very challenging because you're always struggling with your left hand. You got to get this out of the way, and then we'll talk about the right hand technique. So on the right hand, we have this interesting little technique here. This is why I'm a guitar teacher, not an art teacher. This is supposed to be a right hand. So we got the right hand, and we're designating these fingers. The thumb is P, the index is I, your middle finger is M, and your ring finger is A. So it's P, I, M, A, or PIMA. So what we got is over here on the tablature, we're naming the strings. The fifth string is going to be struck with the thumb, third string with the index, second string with the middle, third string with the index, ring finger on the first string, index on the third, middle on the second, index on the third. All of these patterns are based on the same picking pattern. There is a slight change we'll talk about in a moment, but let's go to isolate just the bottom one here. We'll start kind of backwards with this pattern here. So I'm going to switch screens and talk about that. So to memorize this pattern, I would start with just the open strings, and we're going to go thumb with a down strum. You don't want to pluck out because you'll get that string banging against the fretboard, so you want to make sure it's a downward motion. You'll notice my thumb is ahead of the fingers, and the fingers are kind of spread out, so they kind of have free range of motion. The thumb and the index, the middle, and the ring all have free range, and they're not going to run into each other. So you don't want your hands like this. You want to kind of fan them out a little bit. And you'll see that I've just got that thumb slightly ahead. I'm also kind of dipping those fingers into the strings, so I'm not crunched down like this. You want to kind of just dip in from the tips, and we're pulling directly across the strings. So I've got thumb, index, middle, index, ring, index, middle, index. From a side view, thumb, index, middle, index, ring, index, middle, index. Without talking. You want to memorize that pattern first. That's going to get the muscle memory going and get this easy to transfer between chords. A little theory on this. When we go back to our chords, you'll notice that the lowest note of the A minor is the A string. Therefore, the thumb on the A minor plucks the fifth string A. The lowest note of the D minor chord is the fourth string open. That's the D string. So on the D minor, you're plucking the fourth string, D, for the first note of the progression. E minor and E7 both share an E on the sixth string as their lowest note. You'll notice on the E minor or E7, we're plucking the thumb on the sixth string for both of these chords because that's the open E string. So once again, A string, D string, E string. Otherwise, the pattern is the same on all the measures. So I'm going to walk through that progression with you and talk about that. The piece I'm going to give you, you might want to go ahead and get a screenshot of that while you're looking at it. In lessons, I do PDFs sent to your inbox, but for YouTube lessons, it's just easier for you guys to get a screenshot. So you want that for your notes. And then we're going to also do this is your arrangement. There we go. So let me get that in focus for you, let you get a nice screenshot of that. So we're going to be starting with the A minor chord. This has the tablature written on it, but if you memorize the fingerstyle piece, that's your A, fifth string. So for the A minor, I'm applying this pattern. For the D minor, this pattern. And for the E minor, E7, this pattern. So really, without having to be bogged down, if you memorize that pattern and you know how to change your finger on the thumb between the chords, you don't really have to read all this standard notation or this tablature here. You're applying that chord progression to each chord. Thumb on the 5th string, thumb on the 4th, thumb on the 5th, thumb on the 4th, thumb on the 5th, thumb on the 6th, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then we're going to strum the last chord with the thumb, and I'll talk about that when we get there. So that's our pattern that we played at the beginning of the piece. You can go ahead and get a PDF of that if you like. One more time. And let's go back and break it down. So we're starting with an A minor chord. So I'm going to insert this for my A minor chord. So I'm holding this with the left hand. You want to be up on those fingertips pretty well. The reason being, if you're not up on your fingertips, you're going to get some dead strings. So you want to be up on those fingertips. Sorry, where am I here? A minor. Right? Not this. That just means I've got those fingers too curled down. You want to get up on those fingertips. I've got some other lessons talking about that, or if you need help with that, you can always reach out to me for private lessons. So you'll see a nice high curve, get those fingers up on the fingertips. And for the A minor, sounds like this. I was on the 5th string. Moving to the D minor, thumb on the 4th string. I would take those two chords bouncing back and forth until you get comfortable moving between them. A minor, D minor. Just make that transition until you're comfortable with it. And then we're going to move to the E minor, thumb on the 6th string. Go into the D minor, A minor, then E7, thumb on the 6th again. Now my last A minor, I'm going to do a brush stroke with the thumb, just strumming the A minor from the 5th string down. Kind of lets the listener know it's the end of the song and kind of eases on the brakes. So that'll give you the fingerstyle piece that you need for the right hand, introducing you to the PIMA. You also have the chords written there for you, so you can go through those and learn that piece. So one more time, I'm going to switch over to the tablature piece, and I'm just following the chords in yellow, and I'm going to play that for you all the way through one more time, starting with the A minor. I'll call the chords out maybe as I play it. So A minor, D minor, A minor, D minor, A minor, E minor, D minor, A minor, E7, strum. So I hope that gives you something to work towards, getting used to the PIMA designations on the right hand for classical and fingerstyle guitar. Again, that's P-I-M-A, thumb, index, middle, and ring on the right hand. And then you have your left hand fingers written in the tablature, or sorry, the chord grids at the top of the chart. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me at thefretfeed.com. I'm also available for private lessons if that's something you would like to get better at your guitar and understand the fretboard and how to play a little better and some of the techniques we covered today. So we'll see you on the next one, and hope you have a good one. Thanks.